Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss the legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedoms and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, the President and General Counsel of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country in the courtrooms of America. Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedoms.
Congressional Democrat files criminal complaint against pro-life group. I'm Matt Barber, Director of Cultural Affairs with Liberty Counsel and Associate Dean with Liberty University School of Law. In today for Matt Staver, and joining me in studio is Sean Akers, Dean of Liberty's Helms School of Government and Policy Analyst with Liberty Counsel. Well, Sean, Representative Steve Driehaus with the state of Ohio, a congressman in the state of Ohio, has filed a complaint with the Ohio Elections Commission, a criminal complaint, alleging that the pro-life Susan B. Anthony list, one of Liberty Counsel's comrade in arms in terms of defending innocent life, a great group out of Washington, D.C., that they are falsely accusing Representative Driehaus of voting for taxpayer funding of abortion by virtue of his vote in support of the Obamacare legislation. Well, he is in a rush, and there are some other candidates that have done the same thing. One in Pennsylvania and elsewhere. It's interesting to see how some of these liberals who voted in favor of Obamacare are now trying to silence their critics and are literally stomping on the First Amendment in order to keep the message from getting out that, in fact, they did vote to fund for taxpayer-funded abortion by virtue of their vote in favor of Obamacare.
You know, Matt, this is one of those amazing things where the people don't want to be held accountable. These congressional representatives don't want to be held accountable for standing by this Obamacare piece of legislation. Now, this particular stunt by Driehaus of filing a criminal complaint strikes me as both a legal and a political miscalculation.
Yeah.
The term that is used often in political campaigns is called earned media. This is a wonderful, wonderful thing. If your issue gets picked up by the media and carried free of charge, it equates to the same amount of your time and energy and money as having paid someone to talk about this subject. And the fact is, this is a fight he can't win. Obamacare has clearly been showed repeatedly to somehow or other free up money or send money or reroute money that will go to cover abortions. This is, the fact is he's got to look the truth in the eye. But what he's done for the Susan B. Anthony list by launching basically, I think, a frivolous lawsuit against them or lodging a frivolous complaint against them is given them thousands and thousands of dollars worth of earned media. You and I are sitting here today talking about this issue because he made this outlandish claim. So in the end, like I said, I think he's going to find that it was both a legal and a political miscalculation.
Well, the issue is that Driehaus, as do some other liberal candidates for Congress, have claimed in the past that they are pro-life. So the fact that they voted for Obamacare, which is demonstrably pro-death, which demonstrably forces you and I and everyone listening right now out of their own pocket to pay with their hard-earned money for the taking of innocent unborn human life, preborn human life, that does not track with the pro-life image that these candidates have tried to portray. So, actions speak louder than words, as they say, Congressman Driehaus, and your actions show that, in fact, you are not pro-life. And the Susan B. Anthony list, Sean, has called the congressman on that. Marjorie Dannenfelser, with the Susan B. Anthony list, issued a release after this complaint was filed, Sean, and as you point out, the earned media here is incredible. This has drawn more attention than the ads that would have gone out would have drawn. The thing you do in a campaign is if somebody says something in an advertisement or if a message is is getting out during an election campaign that you wish to counter, you counter that message with an ad of your own. With it, you don't go in and fan the flames and set up the Susan B. Anthony list here, as Driehaus has done, as the victim. Well, Marjorie Dannenfelser came out with a statement. She said, quote, "In an act of desperation and fear, Representative Steve Driehaus is attempting to use a criminal statute to silence his critics. It is a fact that Steve Driehaus has voted for a bill that includes taxpayer funding of abortion. His own affidavit refers to an executive order which purports to undo the harms of the actual bill for which he voted. The bill retains the language which Representative Bart Stupak referred to as an, quote, an accounting gimmick that allows for federal dollars to go to insurance plans that cover abortion." And her statement goes on and on, Sean, but as we know, a president does not have authority through executive order to undo what is in a piece of legislation. Obama knew that. This was an illusory action that he made in order to placate some Democrats and liberals like Driehaus, so they would vote for a bill that funds taxpayer funding of abortion. And so Driehaus, I think he is going to lose on this complaint, and he has lost in terms of the PR battle here by getting the word out that he, in fact, did vote for a pro-death piece of legislation.
Well, and Matt, probably the greatest concern, I think you're absolutely right. I think he loses on both those fronts. The greatest concern to me here, though, is that we've entered a time that it seems to be acceptable by many in the political realm to use these bullying tactics to silence political speech. We've talked about it several times that when the founders chose to very loudly restate, because they told us up front that speech was already protected. Yeah. But when they chose to restate that in the First Amendment that way, the most protected speech out there was religious speech and political speech, exactly what Susan B. Anthony is doing here. There, in fact, if you look at the root of what he's complaining about, it's not so much a criticism of him except for the fact he voted for Obamacare. The real criticism is that Obamacare provides funding for abortions, federal funding for abortions. And if that's not the case, and you've got a whole group of senators and congressmen on the Hill that side with the Susan B. Anthony list here and say, well, yes, obviously it does. So what you have is pure political speech, and you've got a guy who's suffering under the truth of that political speech, who is striking back with intimidation here, trying to use not just a civil suit, but a criminal suit to a criminal action to silence his political critics. Now that, my friend, begins to smack of something that we can't tolerate. That's liberty itself being put to the line. And you and I have seen repeatedly with Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals that this is a tactic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If you can't win on the substance, you shut your opponent up through intimidation.
Well, and President Obama has engaged in the same type of intimidation. I recall when during his first State of the Union address, after the United States Supreme Court essentially upheld the First Amendment and ruled that corporations also have a right to engage in political speech, that corporations are made up of individuals and that they have a right to engage in political speech under the First Amendment, the president lashed out, standing, looking down his nose from a position of authority at the podium during the State of the Union in the United States Senate, with the Supreme Court justices sitting down below him, where protocol is that they remain silent and show no emotion and show no favor or disapproval of what the president is saying. He shamelessly chastised them for upholding the First Amendment, for going against his political will, and booing the First Amendment with their ruling. So that's the same type of intimidation that Driehaus is engaging in here, and that's the same type of intimidation that is a hallmark of the left.
When we've talked in the past about Chicago politics, Matt, this is what we're talking about, that it's not the truth that wins out. It's not that people get to sit down at a table and discuss whose ideas are better. It's who can yell the loudest. It's really leans toward mobocracy. The real question is who can gather the most intimidating group of people, and how can we force our will on others or make it not worth their while to stand up for their rights.
Well, the louder folks that that the pro-abortion, anti-First Amendment, anti-free speech left screams, the more it backfires. We are seeing a grassroots groundswell of opposition to these types of intimidation tactics, this type of government strong-arming and government growth at the federal level. People are fighting back, and I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to see that the Susan B. Anthony list and Marjorie Dannenfelser is fighting back as well. Folks, go to lc.org to learn more about Liberty Counsel. Learn how you can join us in fighting back against the destruction of human life.
You have been listening to Matt Staver of Liberty Counsel. Our hope is to encourage and inspire you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedoms. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email update. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.